A plagiarism scandal rocking the top echelons of the liberal media. The former executive editor of the New York Times, Jill Abramson, her new book's about the press, apparently riddled with sloppy errors and rampant plagiarism. She got smoked by Martha MacCallum earlier this week.
The paragraphs are very similar in your writing. Do you have any comment on this? There's another one, Lizzie Wildcom, the bad boy brand. I mean, you're going to be asked to respond to this at some point, and I'll put them right in front of you.
You know, all I can tell you is, I certainly didn't plagiarize in my book.
No, sure you didn't. Makes you think, what kind of operation was she running at the Times all these years? And the media fact checkers are lying to you. The president at the State of the Union said violent crime in El Paso, Texas dropped after a border wall was built. But the next day, fact checkers claim the president lied. Look at this Vox headline here. A border fence did not lower crime rates in El Paso. In fact, crime went up a bit. Now, that's a total dishonest distortion of the facts. The media cherry-picked the timeline from the time money was authorized for the wall and until only 2011 to make it look like crime went up. But the facts are, when the wall was completed in El Paso in 2009, there were, 3,300 violent crimes reported that year. And in 2016, the latest year data was available, about 2,600 violent crimes were reported. Crime dropped 20% since the wall was erected in El Paso. Now, the fact checkers have become fake news. Socialism on the rise. Here's the president at the State of the Union.
America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free. Tonight, we renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
Notice how all the Democrats sat. And by the way, Democrats refused to stand against infanticide as well. Also this week, the Democrats unveiled a Green New Deal. It's Marxism. Here's what it calls for. You ready? Abolish fossil fuels, free housing, free healthy food, free money for those unwilling to work, free education for life, abolish air travel, rebuild and upgrade all existing buildings in the United States of America. And we're going to have some fun with that with our next guest in a second. Blackface scandals continue to humiliate Democrats in Virginia. The governor and the state attorney general both appearing in blackface, yet no one's resigned. The number 2 Democrat in Virginia has been accused of sexual assault, and he's riding it out too. What a mess. So Democrats had a hell of a week. Infanticide supporting socialists, blackface identity thieves, and Kavanaugh hypocrites, all supported by the lying, plagiarizing media. Trump is going to feast on these people. Here with reaction, Chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, Republican Congressman Mark Meadows. So, Congressman, what did you think about my commentary at the top?
You know, you're spot on, and we can laugh about it, but the American people need to sit up and take notice. The Democrat Party is shifting to the left, and they're serious about many of the things that you were talking about. And you just, I mean, when we talk about getting rid of air travel in the United States and rebuilding every building, I can tell you, here's the interesting thing, Jesse.
Well, just one thing, Congressman. Yeah. It was a great reaction by the senator from Hawaii, who's a Democrat, when she was asked about this. She goes, well, that's going to be a little bit of a problem for people living in Hawaii.
Well, they're going to put a high-speed channel from Los Angeles all the way to Hawaii.
A channel? Channel. Okay.
I mean, come on. We've gotten to the point where we see it as ridiculous. The American people see it as ridiculous. Nobody here on Capitol Hill are really looking at this and taking it seriously, but they should.
Well, okay, so you're saying no one on Capitol Hill is taking it seriously, but I believe 3 presidential candidates, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, they've all endorsed the Green New Deal. So I guess they're for abolishing air travel. And my favorite is free income for those unwilling to work.
You know, let me just tell you, there's a whole lot of people that if they could get a paycheck and not have to go to work, I think they would opt for that.
We're not one of those people, though, Congressman, right?
No,
we would
I'm
never
not.
do that.
Well, I tell you what, I love work. I believe that you ought to be paid according to the effort that you put forth. But here's the interesting thing is, Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, when you really look at that, she wants to come after your insurance, your private insurance, your guns. Now they're saying, well, we want to come after your airplanes, your money, your buildings. Right. I mean, what else is next?
You mentioned buildings. Okay, so they want to upgrade or completely knock down and rebuild every single building in the United States. Now, here in New York City, just to build a new building takes about 3 years to get a permit. I don't see how they can do this all across this land.
Well, they can't do it all across the land. It's ludicrous to suggest that. Even the permitting process, and they're talking about doing this in the next 10 to 15 years. I mean, wow. I mean, where are they going to get all the money from to even implement it?
I know where they're getting it from. One of the people supporting this says we can just print money, Congressman.
Yeah.
Well, like Zimbabwe did. Remember what happened with Zimbabwe? Like $1 is worth like 3 trillion of their currency.
And when we take a grocery bag of dollar bills to buy bread, they will understand, it's just like in Venezuela. It starts out with socialism as a good idea. Eventually you come to, are there enough rabbits to feed the people? I mean, come on.
Yeah, we want to walk our dogs in America. We don't want to eat our dogs in America.
Exactly.
You bring up you're bringing up animals. I'm still looking. I'm astounded by this stuff. They say they want to eventually abolish cow flatulence because there's methane in that. And I read that to be because you can't stop cows from flatulating. You got to eliminate cows, which means they're coming after our hamburgers, Congressman.
Well, there's a lot of bull here on Capitol Hill. I can tell you that getting rid of some of that cow would be okay, but this is really just ridiculous. So they're going to come after your money and now your cows. I mean, listen, America should take notice, because there are people here in Washington, D.C. who are dead serious about putting forth this extreme agenda and making sure that they take their money and give it to someone else.
It's Soviet communism, and I believe, I'm sure you believe too, the Trump White House must be licking their chops to run against these people in 2020. I'll give you the last word.
Well, they are, and when you look at the extreme nature of what they're putting out there, that's why this president does so well. He connects to the union worker in Ohio and to the farmer in the Midwest, and he knows what makes this country work. It's hard work, sweat, and tears, and obviously he supports them.
All right, Congressman, thanks for coming on Water's World. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right, President Trump receiving thunderous applause from one person in particular at this week's State of the Union. Nancy Pelosi, watch this.
We must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good.
Body language expert Tanya Ryman joins me now. Tanya, what was that sarcastic little clap?
This?
What was that? What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, when you do something like that, first of all, what she did was intentional, right? She got really close to him, as close as she could. She tilted her head. She had on that smirk, and then she clapped as loudly as she could. And it was a powerful, aggressive clap. So, of course...
An aggressive clap?
Yeah, meaning like, hey, versus... so...
Was it sarcastic, or did she really believe what the president was saying about coming together? Okay.
It was utterly sarcastic. Yes, this was her way of saying this is ridiculous and I am stronger than you think I am.
Oh, okay. So it was a power clap.
Oh, definitely.
All right, let's go to another moment from the State of the Union when the president said, we're in great shape. Listen.
The state of our union is strong.
Well, what I found interesting, when the president says something that he knows is going to land, he steps back and then looks around like this. And you notice Pence clapped and Nancy stayed seated.
Well, two things. He does do that, but he looks primarily to his base. So when you're watching him, notice he pulls away from the podium, and then he faces who he knows is going to give him the bigger applause, and then he lifts his chin up, and that's a power move. So it's like he's absorbing the energy.
He's receiving the applause.
And so he doesn't bother looking at the Democrats because he knows that they're not standing. Instead, and that's an anchoring movement. You do that, so it's almost like you anchor your positives, and then you anchor your negatives. So every time he talks about good stuff, it's always towards his people, and then when he talks about bad things, he thinks it's about, I'm going to anchor it towards the people who don't like me that much.
Anchoring your positives.
Yeah,
I like that.
Really, that's a powerful move, and he does it often.
I'm going to start anchoring my positives a little bit more.
Okay, make sure they're towards me.
Okay, sounds good. All right, finally, we're going to go to another moment when I think all the Democrat ladies in white got some love. Let's listen.
We also have more women serving in Congress than at any time before.
So what do you think?
This was really powerful for two reasons. The first reason is people they want to get rid of Nancy, but you see, she was the one who got those people up. So don't disclose.
Did she
Oh, yeah, that
rise
was
them
her.
up?
Yeah, that was her. She's more powerful than people want to give her credit for. But more importantly, Donald Trump initially didn't realize that the face is like an emotional transmitter.
There she is.
Yeah, see?
She's conducting the orchestra right there.
So he didn't realize initially that that was mocking. So the emotional transmitter facial expression took a few seconds. Then he realized it was sarcasm, and he turned around and he said, thank you, because he has to save face. But that was truly against him, and a lot of people didn't get that either.
Okay. All right, Tanya, I'm going to be emotionally anchoring all weekend. Thank you very much. Good. All right. Coming up, taking a closer look at celebrities in blackface. Where do you see this list? And later, O.J. Simpson back on the scene. Governor Ralph Northam identified as a person in blackface or draped in a Klan robe in his medical school yearbook. He denies that, but who knows? The state's lieutenant governor has been accused of sexual assault, and the state's third in line, the attorney general, he admits he once wore blackface at a college party. So, are people calling these people to step down, or they want them to stay? What's going on? Joining me now, conservative commentator Rob Smith and liberal commentator Wendy Osefo. All right, ladies first. Wendy, we'll start with you. I know what's going on here. It is an identity politics pretzel that you guys have wrapped yourself into, okay? Because you have the governor in blackface. If he resigns, you have the black lieutenant governor accused of sexual assault. And if he steps down, then you have another white Democrat in blackface. So if the lieutenant governor, he steps down and you replace him with the guy that was in blackface, that's going to make the black people angry. And if you let the lieutenant governor stay, accused of sexual assault, that's going to make the women angry.
Well, Virginia is in a pretzel.
Yes.
I don't think it's anything that the Democrats did per se. I always say that when it comes to issues of racism, it's not a GOP problem, it's not a Democratic problem, it is an American problem.
Well, it's a Democrat problem in Virginia.
No, it's not, so to speak, because we've had other issues in Virginia, Charlottesville, that has not been a Democrat problem.
Okay.
So
I'm just talking about the blackface
so
thing, but I
racism
get your
is
point.
as American as apple pie, and that's not something that we can argue.
What are you calling them to do?
I'm asking that they step out.
All of them.
I believe that the AG, as well as the governor...
So the two guys in blackface, you want them out?
Should step down.
And you want the black lieutenant governor accused of sexual assault to be governor?
No, I want the claims brought against him to be substantiated.
Okay, I agree with that. Rob, what do you think?
I think that it's very funny that when you see Democrats being racist, basically, then racism is all of a sudden an American problem.
It's always been,
and whenever
Rob.
there is a racial issue on the Republican side, then it is an example of some sort of deep-rooted issue with racism in the Republican Party.
That's
Look
true.
at the policies
let me just ask you, would you forgive any of these Democrats for being in blackface, or is it something they can't recover from, they have to resign immediately?
I think for me, look, I don't think that it's something that they can't recover from. I don't know if I necessarily want people to resign immediately. We were on here, I was with you when we talked about Roseanne, when the whole incident happened with her. And I feel that in situations like this, we always lose the opportunity to have a learning experience. I think that people realize that blackface is bad, but when we have these opportunities to tell them why it's bad, they just just don't get it, and we don't teach them this.
People don't
I think that is absolutely crazy that these people were in blackface. And by the way, that yearbook was when he was 25 years old.
Okay, well,
so
this is a learning experience on Watters World, as it always is.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Wendy, about some of these comedians, entertainers. Let's take a look at some of their blackface episodes. We had Ted Danson, famously in blackface many, many years ago in an event. There he is right there. I mean, that's pretty outrageous. You had Jimmy Kimmel not too long ago dressed up as Karl Malone. I mean, he's a big Karl Malone fan. I can't believe you can even find this online. Jimmy Fallon, I think, was Chris Rock at one point. Does it make a difference if it's a celebrity in an entertainment capacity to do blackface? Because I don't think it should make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference. And to go back to Rob's point, we do not know as a country that blackface is bad, because if we did, people would not do it. People only admit blackface is bad once they get caught. That is an issue.
I think 99% of the country thinks it's bad.
I do not think so, because honestly, what you always hear from people is they say, I was not trying to make offense to anyone. I was trying to represent a culture. That's ridiculous.
But if Wendy thinks that the governor and the AG should resign for being in blackface, what do you think should happen to the celebrities?
I absolutely think that there should be ramifications for their...
Ramifications?
Absolutely.
But we never
they can't resign. They're not in a political
No more
position.
late-night shows?
Yeah, but when we had the liberal
seriously.
Wow, okay.
So I was watching Jimmy Kimmel do Karl Malone, and for me, the most offensive part of it wasn't him being in blackface. It was like the black voice that he used and that affectation. And you find so much with the liberal comedians that they're given a pass. Ted Danson, Jimmy Kimmel, all these people were given a pass. Sarah Silverman has done blackface as well. And so you never really see that outrage from the public when it's liberal.
I think Robert Downey Jr., he was in blackface. He was nominated
for an Academy Award.
When he was in blackface. What was that movie?
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, right. Juan Williams was on The Five the other day, and he made a differentiation when celebrities do it, because he said that when these celebrities and entertainers were doing it, they liked the people that they were imitating in blackface. They were fans of Karl Malone. They were fans of Chris Rock. So he got into the intent. Do you make a differentiation?
It's not about the intent, because everyone knows the history of blackface, which comes from the 1830s, making fun of African Americans and stereotypes that have been juxtaposed to African Americans of being lazy, of being ignorant. Those things, you cannot take that away. Blackface represents that. It does not matter what the intent is. It is wrong.
Well, I can't believe people don't know that.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I think that people just don't know. There's so many people that I talk to.
I think they don't
I think that people don't know the history behind blackface and why and how it has been used to dehumanize African Americans, and how these things, come up again and again and again. And I think that whenever this happens, we never really go into that conversation so people can understand why it is so hurtful to African Americans and to black people. And I think that we missed that moment, and I don't want to miss that moment this time, because I think that this is a teachable lesson.
All right, well, Wendy, I think your mom would be proud, because you didn't yell at anybody this time.
Hey, Mom, I did well.
Because we can agree that blackface is wrong.
Absolutely.
Like, liberal, conservative.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, Chris Christie makes his first splash into water.
Are you stupid? On topic. On topic. Next question.
1,000 things I'll do tonight. Going to dinner with you is about number 1,001.
The rear end's going to get thrown in jail, idiot.
Either sit down and keep quiet or get out. One or the other. We're done with you.
That's the Chris Christie everybody remembers from back in the day. Basically just telling people what's going on. In 2016, the governor ran for president, and now, 3 years later, he's the author of the new book, Let Me Finish, detailing his rise in New Jersey politics and his insight into the Trump presidency. Chris Christie joins me now. Governor, I used to get drunk with my friends and watch you on YouTube just lay people out.
I'm glad I was entertainment when you were drunk. That's good. Well, you're my entertainment now. I love your show.
Well, thank you very much. You have great taste. Now, unlike a lot of the other people that interviewed you, I actually read this thing.
I know, and I'm going to be able to tell right away. I tell the people who didn't read it.
Well, I skipped the New Jersey part. I went straight to the 2016 campaign.
Okay.
All right, I confess. Now, in the campaign, you really went after Marco Rubio hard.
I did.
You actually, a very famous moment of the campaign was when you got him so flummoxed he started repeating himself in the New Hampshire debate. Let's roll that and then talk about it.
But I would add this. Let's dispel with this fiction that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is trying to change this country. He wants America to become more like the rest of the world. We don't want to be like the rest of the world. We want to be the United States of America.
You see, everybody, I want the people at home to think about this. That's what Washington, D.C. does. The drive-by shot at the beginning with incorrect and incomplete information, and then the memorized 25-second speech that is exactly what his advisors gave him.
And the crowd loved it, and then I think he repeated the same line about
3 more times.
3 more times.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys talk after that? You guys are friends?
Yes. Yeah, we're fine. You know, listen, in fact, after Marco had his debate for his Senate seat then that he ran for re-election for, he called me the next day, and he said, by the way, thank you. And I said, well, why? And he said, I did great in my debate last night, and all I was thinking about was what you did to me in February, and I'm never going to let anybody do that to me again. So
you warmed him up.
We did. I think that Marco understood. We were competing with each other. We were in direct competition with each other in New Hampshire, and I did what I thought I needed to do.
And you got some big endorsements in New Hampshire, and your poll numbers really started to rise, and you were really the attack dog for a lot of that primary campaign. Then you dropped out, endorsed Donald Trump. Tell us about the endorsement. You went down to Texas.
Yeah, we went to Fort Worth. I flew down there the night he was having a debate in Houston. I met him in Fort Worth, and we did the endorsement. And I remember we kept it so quiet, no leaks, that when we walked into that room that you're showing on the air right now, a reporter saw me walk in the room with Trump and said, oh, my God. They were stunned. But here's what I knew. I knew he was going to be the nominee.
Because you endorsed him before almost anybody else
Before
did.
anybody.
Before Jeff Sessions.
Yes, before anybody. I endorsed him. He was my friend for 15 years at that point, but also I had campaigned against him. I knew he was going to be the Republican nominee, and my job, as I saw it, was to endorse him and to go in there and make him the best candidate he could be, because we did not want Hillary Clinton to be president of the United States.
Right. So then you're a big part of the campaign at that point, moving on to the fall, and the Access Hollywood tape drops.
Yep.
What went through your mind when Access Hollywood drops?
Oh, listen, I think we were all stunned and worried and concerned. But one of the things I said to the then candidate at the time was, he said, is it over? And I said to him, no, because you're running against the single worst presidential candidate in my lifetime. So we got time to recover, but we got to do this the right way. And he went into that debate that Sunday night, and he dealt with the issue, and he really, really performed well in that debate. And that, plus Jim Comey's little letter, I think turned momentum, and now we have Donald Trump as president.
That's right. Now, so there's some controversy about you in that second debate. There's people in the campaign that say Chris Christie had the opportunity to fly on the jet with the team and go to that debate in Houston, and you decided that morning maybe not to go, and people thought that was a little disloyal.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's Steve Bannon, who just making stuff up, telling me if either you're on the plane or you're off the team. It's typical Steve drama that was completely made up. I made it really clear. I called that morning and said, listen, I'm the only elected official here, and you haven't yet answered these questions. And if I go there, they're going to be all over me to answer these questions. I want you to answer them first. Same reason I didn't go on Sunday morning shows that Sunday before the debate. And the president knew full well why I wasn't going. And that night, after the debate was over, 10 minutes after it was over, he called me and he said, I won the debate because of you. You're the best campaign debate prepper I've ever seen. We still run debate prep for debate number 3. So this whole idea that I was off the team, I was there, and then on election night, I was in his apartment with he and Melania and Barron and the rest of the family watching election returns. So another Steve Bannon fiction.
Okay, and that was a great night, that election night.
It was an amazing night.
Amazing, historic.
No one thought it, Jesse. No one thought it was going to happen when the exit polls came in at 5:30, showing Hillary Clinton was going to win 350 electoral votes. Believe me, down the street at Trump Tower, there was a lot of consternation. But it made it only better when those returns came in and it went our way. And he was one very happy man that night.
You were in the running for, I believe it was Attorney General and maybe another cabinet position. And you were also in charge of the transition. Now Chris Christie's out writing books. He's not in the White House at all. What happened?
Well, I was in the running for vice president. It came down to me and Mike Pence, and he selected Governor Pence. And I love Governor Pence, and I think he was a good choice. Mm-hmm. I was then in the running for Attorney General. He picked Jeff Sessions. But
imagine if Chris Christie had been AG.
There would be no Bob Mueller.
No.
If Chris Christie was AG.
Wow.
That you could be sure of. And on the transition stuff, 2 days after the election, as I write in the book, Steve Bannon called me in and fired me as chairman of the transition. And when I knew it wasn't his doing, and I said to him, whose decision was this? I thought perhaps it was the president-elect's, and I wanted to talk to him directly. And he finally said to me, no, as he referred to him, he said it was the kid, referring to Jared Kushner. And he said, it's the kid, he's been taking an axe to your head ever since I got here with the boss, ancient bitterness. And so, you know, this goes back to, as I detail in the book, the time in 2004 when I prosecuted Jared's father.
Yeah, I'd be pretty mad too.
Well, you know, I'm sure you would be at the time. But then 12 years later, Jesse, once you knew that your father had committed those crimes, that your father had pled guilty, not been found guilty, admitted to the crimes, what else was I supposed to do as a prosecutor? Turn my head and walk away?
I understand.
I took an oath. And so, you know, in the end, also, we're supposed to be serving the president.
Right.
And by throwing me out and throwing the entire 6 months of transition work out, the president's still attempting to recover from that with a lot of empty desks and a lot of people who got picked for jobs like Mike Flynn and Tom Price and others who had no business being there and served the president poorly.
Well, that would have been a lot of fun having you as AG, telling people to sit down and shut up in the press corps. That would have been
something. You know what would have happened too, Jesse.
That's right. All right, Governor, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Coming up, our news segment, Who's Right and Who's Wrong?
Yeah. It is bad, Jesse. You know, I do think that she should drop out. Yeah. She's not going to win no way. No. But here's the deal. A little lie turns into a big lie, and then a big lie turns into a well-dressed lie. This reminds me of Rachel Dolezal. Remember that? Yeah. When she walked around and said she was African-American and come to find out she was white. That's right. So I don't know why Elizabeth Warren keep running away from her race. Maybe she should embrace it. She should take this time to step down and embrace really who she is so that she can stop lying to the public.
That's right.
Yeah, she's white. Look in the mirror. She's pale. Right. She's white. Her name is Elizabeth Fleming Warren. I mean, I had my DNA tested. I'm 0.1% black. She's 0.09% American Indian. I'm more black than she's Indian.
Just like Silk is more Indian than she is.
You are,
Look at
Silk.
her cheekbones. Mm-hmm.
And that's what got Liz Warren in trouble with the cheekbones. Oh, boy. All right, let's go on to O.J. Simpson. You know, he was talking about Roger Stone, who complained about the FBI using some brutal tactics in the raid at his house earlier in the morning. Here's the juice on Roger Stone.
I got raided by the FBI in Miami. 30-something FBI agents, 5 o'clock in the morning. I had more than dogs. I had kids there. They were a little traumatized. And my friend, he got raided too. For nothing, the SEC task force, they were wrong. You never heard another word about it after the media made a big deal out of them in there. So the FBI can be wrong, you know. But to try to compare it to El Chapo and Bin Laden, hey man, Bin Laden was carried out in a bag, not walked out in handcuffs. So, you know, man up, stop crying.
Well, now, when O.J. tells you to man up, I'd say, okay, whatever you say, O.J., whatever you say.
Yeah, maybe O.J. should go and squeeze himself. You know, telling him to man up, maybe O.J. should have manned up and continue to do the rest of his years in prison instead of out walking around. The deal is Roger Stone, I thought it was excessive as to what happened to him. That's right. Agents raiding his house, just walking up in his house, bum rushing his house to arrest him, and then he goes sign himself out. It was ridiculous, a waste of taxpayers' money. Yeah. Listen, he's already pleaded not guilty. So let this here go to a trial and be judged by the jury of his peers.
All right. Now, one of the other controversies this week, do you guys remember this scene from Mary Poppins?
Chim chimney, chim chim, chiree chim chiroo.
Okay, so the New York Times now claiming Mary Poppins is racist because they had some soot on their faces during the chimney sweep.
Okay, so why do we allow these people to manipulate our language and say it's racist, or what we say is racist? Our TV shows are racist. Now Disney movies is racist. This is crazy. Yeah. But I didn't see them mention anything about Jimmy Kimmel dressing up in blackface. I didn't see them mention anything about Joy Behar dressing as a beautiful African-American woman. I just wish that the left would stop attacking everything and making everything racist. Because it's getting out out of control.
That's right.
That Mary Poppins movie was not racist. So stop it, New York Times.
That's
Stop
right.
it.
And understand what racist is. It's whenever a person thinks they're more superior than another group of people. That's what it is. So stop calling everybody racist, because the definition of racist is just going away. You're not understanding what the definition is.
And you remember what the New York Times called blackface when the Democrat had it on. They called it dark makeup. So they're always trying to shade something one way. What was Elizabeth Warren's middle name? Herring. I said it was Fleming. I do not want to misidentify Elizabeth Warren. All right, ladies. Catch them on the Chit Chat Tour.
ChitChatTour.com.
There it is. Up next, who's right and who's wrong? Probably me. So we thought we'd ask who's right and who's wrong. Joining me now, the newest addition to the Fox Nation family, Abby Hornacek, and Fox News 24/7 headlines reporter, Carly Shimkus. All right, so in my opinion, is it okay for men to take their shirts off in public? When is it okay? When is it not okay?
I feel like it really depends on the situation. See, I'm kind of a proponent of did you see all of the memes and stuff that came out while people released on Twitter, like the beer gut guys that were kind of mimicking Adam Levine? That I think is okay.
Wait,
I think it's hilarious.
You like fat guys when they take their shirts off. That's okay.
There's a lot of guys out there right now, and you're their favorite.
I think it's hilarious. I'm not a huge fan of
so you're making fun of them.
Yes.
Okay, you're making fun of fat guys.
I'm not making fun of them. They're making fun of themselves, and I'm just kidding.
All right, do you agree? You think fat guys?
I cannot believe that
it continues to widen. Every time we turn on the TV, open a laptop, or listen to the radio, another bizarre, offbeat, outlandish idea brings us closer to socialism and the destruction of capitalism, and is being pushed by the left. So you have a decision to make. Do you want to live in a country where no matter how hard you work, what you do, or how much you succeed, you simply won't improve your lot? Do you want to benefit from your own success, or would you prefer the government take over and use your benefit to pay everyone else? In the last few weeks, the left has removed its moderate mask to show its true socialist colors as they cheer laws that allow for the killing of babies already born and born alive, giving the mother the right of a thumbs up or thumbs down like an emperor in the Roman Colosseum. And every one of the 2020 Democrat presidential candidates supports the Green Deal proposed by a freshman congresswoman so knowledgeable about Washington that she thinks she came here to sign bills. Which Green Deal will literally pull planes out of the sky. No issue, I guess, since the left is happy with the influx coming in through our southern border. No air travel required for them. This Green Deal, supported by Booker and Harris and Sanders and Gillibrand and Warren, requires that every building in America be rebuilt for environmental reasons, and that high-speed rail be developed so that air travel becomes unnecessary. The Green Deal foresees Medicare for all and considers a deficit not that big a deal because, according to Ocasio-Cortez, we can just print more money. You know what? You should have left your Monopoly game home when you came to Washington. But my favorite part is where they seek a net zero greenhouse gas in 10 years. So you may ask, why net zero as opposed to zero? The reason is that they're not sure they'll be able to get rid of bovine flatulence. I can't believe I was just saying this. AKA cows farting. These emissions from cows are a concern to the left because these bovine emissions have an environmental impact and the methane gas produced by the bovine flatulence contributes to the greenhouse gases that contributes to global warming. Need I say more? And their hypocrisy. It knows no bounds as they hang on to dear life, political life albeit, in the state of Virginia, where the governor and the attorney general dressed in blackface, and the governor comes out and says that he's now going to